Hi, my name is Kimberly Harwood from Zeebman Development. Today I'm going to give you a demonstration of Validatrix, our new plugin for the Razor's Edge that lets you define data entry rules and manage breaches of those rules in real time. So first of all, let's take a look at the configuration. We can find this in the plugin section. And as you can see when I open it, I've already got a number of rules already set up. Let's take a look at a fairly simple one. So this rule makes sure that all email addresses are entered in the correct format. We've got an overview of the rule here, all of which we can set up ourselves, and we can choose which phone formats that applies to, so we make sure it only applies to the email addresses. The rule applies to the preferred address and to all phone records which have a type of email. If we take a look at the criterion, we can apply this when the record agrees or when it disagrees with the criterion. And we've got the regular expression already created, validate as an email address, so we just need to check that radio button there. As you can see, we've got a number of other options available as well, but we'll take a look at those a little later. You can also create your own regular expressions and add them in here for any more complex criterion that you might have. Now if we take a look at the validation, we can open this up here. There are a number of options available here as well. You can give a message and cancel the save, give a message and revert to the previous value and cancel the save, or don't give the user any message at all and just revert to the previous value and continue saving. We've chosen yes, no, cancel message. So as you can see, we've created a dialog message in the box here. And if the user chooses yes, then that will save their value. If no, it will revert to the previous, or cancel will prevent the save and they can edit that record before they save again. You can choose to apply this to a supervisor user, and you can select different actions for different security groups too. Okay, so let's take a look at a little more complicated rule. So for example, we've got a rule here that if somebody is marked as dead, they must have a deceased date as well. So the criterion is when the record agrees with the criterion, deceased is ticked. And if we go to the Dependencies tab, we can see that there's a rule here that also must be met in order for this rule to fire. We can double click on that to take a look at it. And as you can see, it's marked that this is a dependency on the rule we're currently on. In exactly the same way, we can look at the criteria and see exactly what it is that it's going to do. If we go back to the main rule and we take a look at the validation, we can see we've got a simple message and a cancel save. So this message below will pop up if somebody tries to select that the constituent is dead without adding a deceased date. Now, sometimes these rules can be a little bit confusing, especially if you're setting up a number of dependencies. So if you click on the view button in the right-hand corner, in the left-hand corner here, then we can see a visual representation of our rule, which will show us exactly what will happen when. So as we can see here, if the deceased field is ticked and the deceased date is blank, then the messages will be displayed. And any other option, there'll be no further action. So this is really handy when you're creating new rules. Okay, so let's take a look at it in action. So let's open up a new record. So we can see here already we've got an invalid email address, so let's leave that there and let's tick this record as deceased. Now if we try to save and close it, as you can see, it will tell us the email address is invalid, but we can still choose to save that if we want to. So we'll say yes to save. And now we can see that we've selected that deceased is ticked and we need to add a date or change it back to unticked. So we'll click OK, we'll add a date. And now if we save and close it, we still get the message showing that our email address is invalid, but that's okay. And now the record's saved and closed, no problem at all. You can set up as many rules as you want with Validatrix, varying from the incredibly simple to the very, very complex. As with all our plugins, there's a trial version available to download from our website, which is fully functional against the Blackbaud sample database. We've also created some helpful guides about getting started with rules and validation, and also some sample recipes for you to try out as well. If you've already got Audit Trail Professional, Validatrix now comes as an additional free module for those on maintenance, and if you're a new purchaser of Audit Trail Professional, then it will come as standard too. If you've got any other questions, please don't hesitate to get in touch at www.zeidman.info. Thanks for listening.